Ciao, everyone. This is Esther.
This is Alfred reporting from Sicily today.
Hope everyone is having a great day. I'm in Boston. Alfred is back in Sicily. And how's the weather? Is it getting a little better, Alfred?
Yesterday was great. Yesterday was in the high 60s, low 70s. Today it's been cloudy and full of fog all day. So I moved inside into I guess you could call them our indoor downstairs studio, because I didn't want to have the kids outside with the banshees and stuff today. So I figured, why not? I'll come inside here. Can you hear me okay?
I can
Transmission's
hear
all
you
right?
great. Welcome
That's good.
to You, Me, and Sicily, where we come to you every week talking about all things Sicilian. And I'm in Boston just for a few more weeks, and then I'm happy to go back to Sicily. I have a great little essay a little girl, Anissa, wrote about Fontana Bianco. I want to read that to you a little bit later. Uh, Also want to tell you that we're going to have a spinach pie scacciata recipe coming on later this week. So check that out. And Alfred, what have you been eating?
Well, the big news today is it's the 32nd anniversary of Chris and our pal from New York, uh,
Frank Cornelio.
Cornelio, Frankie Cornelio, and Christine's 32nd anniversary. That's
So,
unbelievable.
honey, I know it's
I mean,
great that they've been
happy
together so
anniversary
long.
to them. Yeah, they're just
So,
great
honey,
people. And
yeah,
go ahead.
I, I asked you, what great Sicilian foods have you been eating?
I have been doing a lot of experimenting with all the beans that are out. As a matter of fact, my earplug can't fit that properly today because the freaking beans have been coming out of my ears, Esther. I've eaten
The
enough
fava
beans
beans,
now.
right?
Basta with the beans.
Well, this
So
is the
today I cooked
season
them.
for beans.
Yeah, I know, but you want to know something? It's like the season for bacalao. After a while, you're like, basta pa water. You know what that means? Enough for now. But I didn't feel like making a stew. I didn't feel like making a stew or a soup today. So I took the beans, the fava beans, and I put them in a pan, and I
Yeah.
put some peas in there, and then I put some EVOO, salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes, and a little tiny bit of water, and I cooked them like that for maybe 6 or 7 minutes, and I served it as a side with some chicken that I bought. I bought a roasted chicken. The
Roasted
roasted chickens in Sicily
arrosto,
are
arrosto.
yeah, very, very good. And the whole meal, if I put the whole meal together and I put a pen to it, it was about $7, 7, $8.
Good.
I'm very happy. Yeah, I'm very happy with my lunch
Now,
today. That was my
we
lunch.
also have a fava bean recipe on our channel for those of you guys are interested, and also some many other recipes. I forgot, Alfred, we did your Sicilian sugo recipe a few years ago. That recipe is in our on our playlist as well. So, can I read you a part of this beautiful essay that was written by Anissa? I met her and her mother, Catherine, and also husband Beatrice and Matt in Taormina. We had a little bit of a coffee there. So I want to read you this because she
Wait a
so
minute.
loved.
Where is Fontana
They're
Bianco? Why don't you
they're in
tell them where?
Syracuse. They're in Syracuse, and the family. Someone's knocking on the door. Excuse me. You know what, Alfred? Continue talking. I gotta see who's at the door. This is live,
Oh my
people. This is
goodness.
live. This is what happens
Well,
live.
anyways,
Hold on.
is this the one that's down by Nodo? I haven't a clue, and I'm just making sure that she's not going to get accosted over there. But I guess she's not. Yeah, she's okay. Esther, I told you where the 357 was. Just don't want to kid. It's just a joke. It looks like someone's coming in, and who is it? Nope, somebody almost came in. Ah, that's a pretty. This is what you call
I
live
got
TV.
That's live TV, everyone. You got to go with the flow. Guess what I got? I got a package of wine. I just ordered some wine. I miss my Nero Diavola and I miss my Etna Bianco. So I'm going to try some other wines from here. So that's
Wait a
that.
minute.
Yeah,
They delivered it?
they delivered it. I'm not going to open it
Where did you
now, but
go?
maybe
Where did you
maybe
where
showing
did you get it from?
from Naked Wines. But if you want Italian wines, we have Ciao Daniel. He has wines from Italy.com. He has lots of Sicilian wines. So make sure you check that out. So,
Wait a minute.
uh,
Let me get this straight. Wait a minute. Before you go to this poem, okay? Let's just slow down to 100 miles an hour. You went out and you got wine delivered to the house. Is that correct?
yeah, my mom had this.
From a,
My
let
mom
me
had
finish.
this
From a local
coupon.
wine seller? A
No,
coupon. Fine.
from all over the United States.
And who was the vendor?
It's called nakedwines.com. My mom had a coupon, so I used it. I'll do the show
I
and
got
tell on Sunday.
Okay, so you bought wine online with a coupon from a company called nakedwine.com.
Correct.
All right. And during the middle of a live broadcast going
They delivered it.
worldwide, they delivered it. Am I correct in saying that?
Timing. It's all about timing. Isn't it fun?
Okay. I'm
All
just
right. So
busting your
listen.
chops.
So Catherine and her husband Matt and Anissa and Beatrice, I had a little bit of a coffee with them in Taormina last year, and they're thinking of moving or spending 3 months in Sicily, somewhere in Sicily. They're still looking around. But I'm going to read you part of this essay. Okay. Fontana Bianco. As you're driving in the road towards Fontana Bianco, you will be amazed by the beautiful scenery. The water is beautiful, crystal clear, and you will feel drawn toward it. The cool water is a relief from the blazing hot sun. As you walk upon the fine, soft, white sand, a big smile on your face, you notice everyone around you. So happy. While wading in the water, you can see your feet from the waist high and a feeling of relaxation overcomes you. Can you listen to this? She's 11 years old. What a beautiful thing. I'm going to read you a couple more lines. The town itself is beautiful and very walkable to everything. A cafe, to read the newspaper with a nice cappuccino, a grocery store to get 1,000 household items, and a gelateria to escape from the heat. Fontana Bianco is gorgeous, and the things to do are plentiful. 11 years old, fell in love with
Let me
Sicily.
just get this straight.
Of course, their
You said
families.
Siracusa, but isn't
Yeah,
that Noto?
no,
That's
it's in the
Noto, isn't it?
no, Fontana
Province of
Bianco is right
Siracusa
outside. Yeah,
in Noto.
province. Yeah,
No? Okay.
no, it's in the province of Sur. Anyway, I just thought that's so beautiful that this young girl chose to write about Sicily for one of her essays in school. She just fell in love with Fontana Bianco. And I think they're going to spend some time there. You know, that's one of our favorite little beaches. White, beautiful sands over there, right?
It was fine. Hey, there was a rumor going around that you're going to be on the Sicilian Corner radio show on Friday, this Friday in a couple of days.
I
Is
am.
that true or not?
I'm gonna be on Friday on the Sicilian Corner, and it was fun being there with your brother Tom and Mike. And you know, Mike asked me a question, and I was like, "You can't ask me that." He asked me, out of Sicily, of all the beautiful places that we visited all over Sicily, which one is my favorite town? I looked at him, I'm like, Mike, you can't ask me that. That's like asking me who's my favorite child. You know, they're all my favorite. They all have some little uh, tidbit about different atmosphere, different scenes, different history. So all little towns. You know, I've been to Taormina, what, 150,000 times? And it never gets old. And also for me, the little towns around us, those little quaint, small towns where you harken back to a different century, those are all my little favorites. So we talked about that
Well,
and some other things.
didn't he put your feet to the fire and didn't he force an answer out of you? If I was interviewing you, I would have said, okay, now that you got all this baloney out of the way, what's the answer?
I don't have one, Al. I swear to God.
You don't
All
have
of
you
Sicily.
don't have a favorite one?
I don't have a favorite.
Huh.
I don't have a favorite. What's your favorite?
I like Shaka.
You
I like
mean
I,
to say
I like
that
Shaka.
Shaka is one of your favorite towns? Is one of. It's
Yes.
not your favorite. It's your favorite, Al.
Yes, my favorite. I like Shaka. I like the whole area. I like
All right.
Shaka. I like the area. I like the people. I like the food. I like everything about Shaka. I like walking the streets.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my favorite. And what's my second favorite? I can give you an answer. Catania. I'm a Catanian now. I love Catania. A little bit of city. A little bit of city, Esther. No, I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah, I am kidding.
All right. I want to
You have
know
any?
from our viewers, what is your favorite town? I don't even want to ask that question because it's way too difficult. Fontana Bianco is only 20 minutes from Siracusa. Catherine is here with her family. What a great family. And they're going to be back this summer and they're going to stay in Fontana Bianco. Uh, you just think about the beautiful Roman era basilica in the middle of nowhere. That's right.
The
That's
where?
right. Jim Ingram and I went to the Basilica of St. Peter and St. Paul a few months ago, or actually back in November. It's this unbelievably historic basilica, very small, in the middle of nowhere. And I remember we were driving on not even paved roads, dirt
Yeah.
roads to get here. And in the middle of nowhere, right outside of Taormina, is one of the most important historic churches here in or there in Sicily.
You know what I heard, Esther? I heard that, and it's going to be my favorite place in about a month, and it's going to be your favorite place maybe in a month. But a microbrewery opened up a mere 5 minutes from our house, and it's getting rave reviews. It's over by the Ermo Sant'Anna, a beautiful
Oh, we have to
church,
check that out. Yeah.
and we have to check it out. It's an autogenic beer. There are like 7 different ones that they make over there, and they serve food kind of like flatbreads. You know, the pizza on flat on the boards. And I guess the ambiance is great. The guy that owns the place is great. So that's for sure going to be on our production list. We have to go there to see this place. Autogenic beer is getting very, very popular
Very
throughout
popular.
Sicily. Okay, Catania, Palermo, Messina, Siracusa, all the big cities have got microbreweries right now. And the best part about the whole thing is that the markets, the supermarkets, are beginning to stock them. So you're not seeing the big national things; they're kind of pushing them aside, and you're seeing now these
I love that.
autogenic, which is great. And by the way, if you don't know what to get when you go to the market, let me tell you what to look for. They have a beer from Sardinia in a small bottle, not the big ones, the small bottles. Let that be your go-to beer. It is so delicious. But on the other side of the story, if you want the Dutch beer or the German beer or the Austrian beer, you could have a veritable, I don't know what the word is, explosion of beer if you
You know
come to
what's
Sicily because it's
you
all
know
over the
what's really
EU. It's
interesting?
down here.
Everyone at the pizzeria, everyone has pizza and beer. Pizza and beer.
As
Every
a,
time we go out.
or,
That's the thing to do, have pizza and beer. I like pizza
or
with the wine.
Coca-Cola. I can't believe how many people drink Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola Zero. Coca-Cola Zero. Really, it's like, and you want to know something about Coca-Cola? The big bottle, okay, the 2 liter bottle sells for 95 cents euro here. That's kind of cheap, right?
Not
It's
bad.
like $1.01 for 2 liters of Coca-Cola. Whereas, if you go get a small one at a bar, that's over €2.
Yeah.
You know the small cans,
Especially
€2.
touristy places.
It's crazy. It's crazy how they mark that stuff up. Coca-Cola and
Um,
Fanta. You ever
yeah.
hear Fanta? Fanta is actually outselling Coca-Cola now. And the Fanta here in Italy is made with real oranges, from what I understand. I have to buy some. And people say it's much more flavorful than the Fanta that's in the United States. So for those people who like cold, those types of drinks, we don't
Do
drink
a
them in our
taste
house.
test.
Very
Yeah.
rarely do we drink soda pop or whatever the heck it's called nowadays. We don't drink that stuff. Fanta, can you imagine that? Fanta?
Hey,
Yeah, what
Alfred,
were you going to say, Glenn?
Our friend Alfio, buongiorno, Esther and Alfred, regards from Cabo San Luca, which reminds me so much of Sicily, makes me miss Sicily even more, but very beautiful. I saw some of the pictures that he posted. Absolutely beautiful. Jim Ingram made a good point. There are no favorites because each has its own mystic. It's exactly what I said. You cannot name a favorite place in Sicily. And, the good thing about it being, from one side of the island to another, it's about 5 hours, but it's so fun to continue to explore and find new places, add to your list. So, yeah, I can't name a favorite.
Do you
Well, I love
factor in?
Enna. Second, wait a sec. Connie says she loves Enna. Of course, she lives there. Second choice, Shepaloo. Shepaloo is one of my favorites as well, for sure.
Could I address Connie and Anna just for 1 second? One of the most
Yep.
memorable nights that I had happened about 9 or 10 years ago, where I went there. It was a cold October evening. I don't usually go to Enna during the evening. Okay, usually I'm with a group in someplace, but I happened to be there with a particular person, and the ambiance of Enna in the fall was an experience I never forgot. I remember at the bottom of the Corso, past the Duomo, as you keep on walking
Yeah.
down there, Connie. On the right hand side, there's a beautiful bar. It's kind of like an indoor outdoor bar, and I remember sitting in that place and looking at the twinkle of the stars, and looking over the horizon over there, and that's a memorable time. So I think with me, it's not only the abject beauty of a place in Sicily that I'm going to talk about. It's the abject beauty of the place in Sicily, plus the time that I had. There are plenty of times, and you know it, when we've had I don't want to say a disaster, but not so good times in different places because of one thing or another, whether it's a client getting sick, or whether a client doesn't have a good time, and it kind of ruins it. At least it ruins it for me, where when
Well,
I don't
you
have a
worry.
good positive overall experience, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, you
You see
worry,
what I'm
of
saying?
course. Yeah.
Yeah, like you love Castellamare del Golfo because every time that you go there, you and Paula have a great time together. Paula Rosalo
Sweetie
in
pie.
Alcamo
Sweetie
Marina.
pie.
Right?
No, no.
No,
Even
don't.
without, I've been there many times without Paula. I love Castellamare del
Okay,
Golfo because of its beauty, because of the beautiful downtown, the bay. It has a lot to offer.
you know what places that we haven't been to together is we have to go to Capo Orlando.
Yeah, I've never
We
been
haven't
there.
gone to Capo. We have to go to Capo Orlando. I mean, you can't say that you've been to Sicily without going to Capo Orlando. It's right in the book, right in the book that I wrote. It
Yeah.
says, unless you've gone to Capo Orlando, don't say that you've gone to Sicily. All right, what else you got?
Catherine says 24 Batoni is my favorite. We went to their microbrewery near Sperlinga. We definitely
Ah,
have to
did you?
try one of those. We
For
definitely have
sure,
to.
absolutely. There's a great place. It's like roughly in the same universe of TGIF in the States. Thank God it's Fridays. You know that strip mall place
Yeah.
where you can get hamburgers and cheeseburgers, and the ambiance of that type of a place, a big bar, you could sit around and you could drink. There's a place, a chain here in Sicily. It's called Enjoy Pub. Enjoy Pub. And there's one over here in San Giovanni La Punta that I
Yeah.
haven't gone to for about 6 months or 7 months, but I enjoy going there because they have terrific char-broiled hamburgers. They have great beer, and you go there, and it's almost like you're back in the, I wouldn't say back in the States, but back in the States with just the whole vibe of the place. It's not quintessential Sicily by
Yeah,
any
but I
means,
don't
but
think, yeah, but I don't think people are coming to Sicily for that.
well, here's the thing, though, okay? And maybe
Wait, can
Connie
I?
can back me up on this.
Yeah.
Connie Milano,
You,
one of the other
well,
expats that is tuning in
well,
today.
when
Wait a
you
minute, let me
live
just finish my
there, when
thought.
you live there, you crave different foods, of course.
Well, I was just going to say that. I mean, after a while, now I've been here since November. I went home for a couple of weeks in November, and I came back. So it's been like 4 months or 5 months. And like I said before, five is coming out of my ears. And the same thing with the standard, so to speak. And I'm going to go like this, standard cuisine when you go to a restaurant. Today, for example, I was on the hunt for agnello. I wanted some lamb chops. I went to 3 places, and they all says, can't get it right now. You have to wait a few more weeks. So your overall flavor profile is much limited than it is in the States.
That's
Okay,
true.
boy, when I like some
Although
Thai
there are
food,
different, yeah, yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
true.
I mean, good quality stuff, Lebanese food. I mean, so I'm
Um,
looking forward to going home. I want a lobster. I hope Jim, when he comes here, brings me lobster. Jim, if you brought me a lobster, I think
Paul's
I'd really love you.
Paul says
Go
I'm
ahead.
doing my research of where to move in Sicily later this year. Sheffield sure is catching my eye. We did an entire episode on Sheffield. It's on our playlist, Explore Sicily. And, that's one of my favorites as well. And Alfred, I go there with people, without people, the history, the beauty of the beach, the historic area, even the drive there is beautiful. But to go back to Castellamare del Golfo, the location is really great because it's about 25, 30 minutes from the airport. It's about an hour from San Vito Lo Capo, 20 minutes from Scopello, Lo Zingaro, all those natural reserves that are so beautiful. So for me, also, the location of some of these cities are near other big sites to see. Like we went to Agrigento and we stayed in San Leone. San Leone was a perfect distance from the Valley of Temples, from Porto Empedocle, from Palma de Montechiara, all those little towns over there in Agrigento. And for me, really, if you ask me what my favorite province is, what province has the most, that's even a difficult one, right? Because even by us, we live in the province of Catania, but we're so close to Taormina, which is in the province of Messina, to Siracusa or Tigre, which is in the province of Siracusa. So for me, though, our location is great because it is driving distance, and also from Enna, an hour and a half from Enna, driving distance from a lot of these main sites.
Well, we don't give one thing we don't do, and one of my goals for this year is to give the city of Palermo its just desserts. Just looking at all the places that I've been to in Palermo over my complete existence over here, there are places in Palermo that are just objectively beautiful, okay, and are unforgettable, okay. The problem with Palermo is that it's a big city, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a big city that's difficult to navigate through unless you have a guide or unless you're in a strictly a touristic area,
I
so
never
you'll feel
recommend people
safe.
drive in Palermo.
Yeah, it's really it's but there is a beauty about Palermo. There's a beauty about the approach of Palermo, whether you're coming from the east or the west or the north or the south, that gives you an unforgettable feeling. Now, she just talked about Sheffield. which is about, how many miles would you say that is? 20 miles away,
It's in the
Esther?
no, a little bit more. It's in the province of Palermo.
Okay,
It's
so
about
but
an hour from the center.
We can go dining in Cefalù. We know some places in Cefalù, and at nighttime when the sunset's coming, the sun is setting, you could actually see the bay in Palermo. You know, the Concha di Oro, so to speak, that beautiful area
That's in
over there.
Montreal.
That the
That's in Montreal.
That's Montreal. You're seeing that's not Palermo.
Montreal. No,
Oh,
you see
okay,
the
excuse me,
Concha di
but
Oro
it's
from
still far away. It's still far away, though, right? I mean, from Cefalù, it's not close,
no,
right?
it's about an hour.
Yeah.
Um,
So, Esther's right. There are a lot of places, but, at some point in time, pick one. I think you ought to
yeah.
be able to pick one, and then, you just have a good time at that one place.
You have a good time, not only in that one place. That's what I'm saying. I like to be in an area where it's easily accessible to all the other areas that I love. That's why I love
Okay. All
the
right.
area of Catania. Um, Al, it's one of the best things about Sicily, Italy, is the fact that the foods are seasonal and harvested fresh, lamb, veggies, fruits, etc. I agree. Peter Scapoletti, Alfred, lobster is very expensive right now. Chicken is $16.99 a pound, and prices go up from there.
That's chicken lobsters. Those are the small ones. They're $17 a pound, huh? Holy smokers. You know how much a Maine lobster costs in Sicily? About €200.
Yeah,
I was
it's
visiting,
about
yeah, 200
I think it
euro.
was Alfred. It was about last time I saw was about 20 pound, 20 euro for a really, really, really small one that they had
Well, we
frozen.
tried those. We tried those small ones that they have frozen in the
It was
freezer
terrible,
compartments of like you.
terrible.
They're awful. Come on. I mean, it's like, why even eat them? It's like bad. It's bad. So, anyways, that's what I'm saying about. After a while, you get to miss things that if I was in the States, okay, and I hadn't had lobsters for 6 months, I would spend $30 and get a lobster. Not that I'm a rich guy, but it's the what's the $30 good for? Is that $30 going to satisfy you for something? And for $30, that would satisfy me. Okay, or a good some spare ribs from China Blossom in North Andover. They're $20 now, or $18, right? The spare ribs here, this looks like the pigs that they use to pork. They must have run them to death
Well,
because there's nothing to eat
they
on them.
just. Paul says, I know that Chapelou gets very crowded in the summer, especially in August. Yes. In the center, do the shops, restaurants, etc., close during the off season? Or they do close. I was there in October, and some of the sort, and it's one of those things, Paul. They do, especially in Chapelou and also in Carmina, a lot of the restaurants are seasonal and they close during the winter month, probably open around April 1st. And, the thing of it is, too, I'm not sure when I went there in October whether some of the restaurants were closed because of COVID, because they went out of business or something, or because of seasonal. I know our other guide, Esther's family's restaurant, right in the center of the Duomo, the Piazza Duomo, right where the cathedral is, they close for the winter months. So, but a lot of things will start opening up starting on April 1st.
Here's the thing, Esther, okay? And I've had many discussions with Roberto about this, okay? Sicily, if
Oh,
you're in the
Roberto's
restaurant
another
business,
one.
yeah,
There's another
I
one.
mean,
He's closed.
right, but it's essentially a 4 month, maybe a 4.5 month proposition if you own a restaurant, okay? So you're talking about the summer months. I mean, he'll open up in April, but it'll be like nobody's there in April. The end of May, it picks up a little bit. Although this year, Russians aren't allowed to come. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen with the touristic season because in past years the Russians were, they
Yeah.
were spending a lot of do re mi. So there's no Russians. So now what's happening is they're getting people from Austria, Germany, Holland, other countries trying to replace it. But who had the money were the Russians, frankly. Okay, they stayed in the top end places and they drank the top end food and ate the top end. So anyways,
Well, Alfred,
comes
I'm
down
here. The
to
predict.
July and August, September, and the first few weeks of October.
Well,
Okay,
even May
that's it.
too, Al. May
A
too.
little bit of
May
May.
too.
No, a little bit of
May,
May is what I'm saying.
May,
But
June.
for all intents
But
and
listen,
purposes, it's a
Alfred,
grind the rest of the year. Huh?
I'm seeing predictions that a lot of Americans and Canadians are going to be coming as well. So let's hope that's true. Crystal Dating Coach, I love that name. When in Palermo, you must go to Balado Market. Great assortment of Sicilian foods, spices, also great street food right in the middle of the Mercato Balado. It's great street food. We always go there after we finish walking through the cathedral. That's a great market that's very easily accessible from all the main areas and main tourist areas or main sites, I should say, in downtown Palermo. But really, all those markets, all those open air markets are great. Of course, everyone knows about the famous one in downtown Catania, the fish market, one of the biggest and most robust in Europe. But also the small ones are so great, like in Ortigia, that main strip up by the parking lot by the bay. It's much, much smaller, but quite an assortment of things, also street foods, fish, um, all types of sweets, local sweets, the pasta de mandola with different flavors. So it's a great, great, great stop. But to go back a little bit to what you were saying about missing foods, Alfred, the thing is that when you have a cook that can make things, you can just YouTube a Thai recipe and just make it yourself, right?
Well, listen, you've developed into an excellent cook, and I'm not going to
I
say a
get it.
word against your cooking because
I
I've
know,
lived
but
with you and I
the
love
next
you,
thing
and
I
you're
think
a great cook.
next thing I think I wanna master is how to do some kind of a Thai food in Sicily.
Or, I don't, I mean, I hate to say this, Esther, okay, but in my
Oh,
heart of
then
hearts,
don't say
when I
it.
go into an Asian restaurant, I'm queasy. I'm queasy. I swear to God. One time I went to one of those buffets. I swear to God, when I looked at they had the spare ribs there. I could have swore I saw some paws. I remember I was like, forget it. I'm not going to
Stop
eat
it.
that. I don't know what the hell animal it was, but I never remember pork having
Stop
paws
it.
before. But
Okay, listen,
anyways, I know
Paul.
I go into good places in the state, even in Rome. The best Chinese restaurant I ever went to was in Rome. Remember you and I went there 2 or 3 nights, E?
Yeah,
The
but
whole
listen,
restaurant
to
was
be to
right.
be honest and to be fair, we haven't explored any of the Chinese restaurants in downtown Catania. A lot of people say they're really great. So let's move on from
Well,
here. Paul
you want to
said,
know
just
something?
try. Let
If
me just
somebody
read
wants
Paul's.
to invite me to a restaurant and let me sample the
Try it.
food, that's fine. But I don't have to stick my hand in a fire to know that it's hot. So I would just
Paul
as soon eat the food that we have here that I know and I love.
Paul
Just
says,
my own
Grazia,
opinion.
just trying to get a sense of what it may be like to live in Sheffield year round. And Paul, the same thing with Taormina. I have been to Taormina over the years. I have been there every single month. So January, February, for some reason or another, I have been there every single month. And December, even a lot of things are open because of Christmas and New Year's Eve is very festive. But come January, February, March, a lot of places all over Sicily, especially in the tourist places, close up for a few months.
Sheffield is beautiful in the wintertime. At the bottom of the hill is Campo Felice di Rocella, a beautiful little town. They have their own Belvedere. There's the word Belvedere, beautiful vista. A lot of towns have them. Castellamare del Golfo has a spectacular Belvedere, but so does Enna. How about
Oh,
how about the
it's
view from
stunning.
Enna at the Lombard
Oh,
Castle? Sometimes I want to throw a euro. I feel like I have to pay for the view,
on a
right?
clear day, right from that
Oh,
spot in the castle,
it's
you can see
breathtaking.
Mount Etna and you can see that other
Yeah.
little town, looks like a little town on top of the hill called not Caltanissetta, Caltanibetta. Caltanibetta.
Ah,
Beautiful.
Is that the one?
Uh,
Is that the one that's 5 miles from the yeah, from the autostrada? Remember you and I had a bet on that one time, where Enna when we saw the sign. You don't remember that, huh? You're getting
Vin says,
selective amnesia, aren't you?
Vin says, hi, I had it when I was a child. It's called ricotta culuceru. Alfred, what is that? Ricotta
Regard,
culuceru.
I don't know what is our friend Angelo over here. I haven't a clue what that is. What does that last word mean?
Crystal, dating coach, said she learned to cook bacala from my recipe. Awesome. That makes me very happy.
Bacala is terrific, and Esther does a good job. There's a lot of good. I want to try
Here
to
we
have her
go.
make
Al,
mascalino for me.
here it is.
The little fish.
Ricotta culuceru is when they make the fresh ricotta, it's the top layer. I'm going to have to ask about that.
You know
Hazel
what? I'll
says the
tell you one
only,
thing.
yeah.
I'm not a fan of is I'm not a fan of the ricotta salata cheese. You
Oh,
know the
I
ones, the
love it.
hard ones that you. For me, it's
Oh,
like
on top of
way too
pasta alla
salty.
norma. Oh, it's so
I never
good.
put ricotta salata cheese on that. I know
That's how you're
people do.
supposed to. That's how you're supposed to.
No. To me, it's like
Um,
way too salty.
it's also, oh, it's so good when you put with the pasta, with the eggplants, a little bit normal. It's also really, really good on my salad. Hazel says the
Oh,
only
it is.
problem
Yeah.
with Enna is parking. Although that is true, there are some parkings around the Lombard Castle.
Yes. No. I mean,
Darren,
did Connie write that? Who wrote that?
no, Hazel. Hazel's coming to Sicily soon.
Ah, okay. But she's quasi correct. I mean, I've never had a problem, and I've gone to enter all the time. I've always been able to find uh, why. Esther, Connie
Yeah,
Milano was telling me that she can't post live. Why can't she post? She just sent me a private message.
she
It's
can
not
post.
letting me post on the live. We have
Yeah,
parking, of course. Just no need to. Yeah.
she wrote something earlier. Darren says Sicily needs to start a major cleanup campaign. It sickens me how filthy the cities are and the side streets and parking lots just filled with filled trash. You know what, Darren? I have to tell you, that is one of the
Who said
biggest
that?
problems. Darren Coronado, that is one of the biggest problems in Sicily. Throughout the years, they've had some things to try to curb this bad habit, this disgusting habit that some Sicilians have. They even have some volunteers like Plastica Sicilia that go around, especially the waterfronts, and collect plastics. But it certainly is a big problem in Sicily, and even people from Sigonella have gone out to try and help
Wait a
clean up,
minute.
but it's a whole culture that has to change, a
Stop.
whole
Stop.
thinking that
Okay.
has to change.
Let me give you the reality of the situation here. Okay. Here's the reality is that you pay this quarterly tax called a TARI, the ARI, for the garbage pickup. Okay. Everybody gets a bill. I just paid mine. I think it was something like 95 euro or something. It's like 250 euro a year. Okay. And you're supposed to separate your garbage, plastic, paper, etc. Okay. Here's what the problem is that in a lot of towns, people, especially for the last 2 years with the COVID, who've been out of work, barely have enough money to pay for their rent and their food. Okay. They have to, some people, a lot of them now are on what they call citizens' income. So a bill like the TARI doesn't get paid. Okay. If the TARI doesn't get paid, they can't pay their workers because everything is budgeted like that. People talk about the cops in Catania. They never see cops in Catania. Well, there's supposed to be 300 of them. Okay. By union rules, 300. But guess what? There's only 190 of them. Why is there only
Honey, I have
190? Wait a minute. Let me just finish this, okay? Instead of 300. And the reason is because they don't have the money to hire back those 110 cops. And it's the same thing. They don't have the money for the garbage
I
collectors and
have to
everything like that. Go
I
ahead.
have to respectfully disagree with you on a number of things. Number one, the garbage pickup has nothing to do with the garbage on the streets that you see.
Yes, it does.
That, wait a second,
No,
wait a
I'm going to
second,
explain to
wait
you.
a
Wait a minute. Let me
second.
explain that to
No,
you.
let
It
me
does. It
finish.
has
I let you
everything to
talk,
do with it.
honey. I let
Right.
you talk. Let me finish, okay?
Okay. But I
That's
want to
number one.
rebuttal.
Number two, the trash pickups, they're always, protesting or what is it called? Some kind of strike or something like that. So the garbage stays behind. That it has been an issue in the past for sure. Even the mayor of Catania calling a state of emergency because the companies weren't picking up the trash. Now, the trash that's on the streets that people just throw out their window, that's a different thing. But I do have to say, since I moved to Sicily, I have seen a market change towards the good. They still have a very long way to go, Alfred, but there is a marked change. But like I said before, it has to be a complete culture shift. Not
Here's the
everyone, but
problem.
just
Here's the
some
problem.
people.
Okay, here's the problem. All right. And this is a huge problem. All right. If you have a mattress that you want to get rid of, or a refrigerator, or something big like that, you know how you get rid of that? You have to call up the town and they'll send somebody down and you pay 20 euro or 15 euro per item to get rid of it, right? So what do the people do who are broke? They take that mattress and they take the mattress and they take the refrigerator and the gas stove and all big stuff. They take it to the city in the middle of the night and they dump it. So half the garbage problem in Catania and Palermo and Siracusa is not caused by the Palermans or the Catanese, etc. It's caused by the outliers coming in and recklessly abandoning garbage during the nighttime. It's a huge problem. It's more of a problem of enforcement more than it is anything else. But
True.
the ecological police, they're also a short staff. This is it's a big problem. If they have money, they can fix it. Right now, they don't have money. They can't fix it.
Yeah.
So that's my view.
Catherine
I mean, I was just trying to give you another side of the story here.
Catherine Marino says she's with Vermont Cannoli. She makes her own hand dip ricotta on her stove to use to make her homemade cannoli. That sounds fantastic. Let me get this next. Darren, by the way, says he's lived in Sicily for 3 years. Where do you live? Let me just read a couple of these. Crystal says, I also disagree. I was in Terracini a couple of days ago, so clean. You could have eaten off the sidewalk. It depends, not all
Good.
Sicily. Now, let me just
Right.
say, she's
I agree
absolutely
with you. I
right
agree with you, man.
because we have gone a lot of places where you come on the show and say, it's so clean, I could have eaten off the road. Okay. So
Yeah,
it's not
I agree with you.
everywhere.
Some places are right.
And Alfred, when we drive around, you have made several times comments saying, "Oh wow, they've picked up the garbage. They're doing better." And then a month later, we'll see we'll see another pile of garbage. And I'm thinking specifically the road that we go up to Conad in Achi San Antonio up there, where there's always some kind of little garbage, and then they'll pick it up. So, but it is an ongoing problem. I want to read
Well,
this question.
don't forget that particular road and most roads, what happens is the people who live on the streets adjacent to those bring their garbage up and put them on that road so that the garbage collectors can pick them up, Esther. It eliminates them from having to go onto all the side streets. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's messy, but it's not messy all the time. What's bad is over on the other side of Catania between Adrano, Paterno, Mr. Bianco, the so-called Triangolo di Morte. Those people there, or some of those people there, have really abused the system for many years on the rest areas in the highway. Now they're trying to clean those up. But I used to stop taking years ago. I stopped going to Bronte because I didn't want my clients to see the disgusting condition of the highway. It was gross.
Listen, this is a very important question that Paul poses. He says he has issues with walking due to spinal cord injury. Also, my mom uses a wheelchair. What are your thoughts about disabled accessibility in Sicily? Paul, unfortunately, they have a long way to go. There are parts that do have them, but overall, it is quite difficult. And even, some of the hotels are trying to put in ramps for handicap accessibility. Also, with the cobblestone streets, that's very difficult for wheelchairs, but it really depends on the area, just like for anything, depends on what area you're thinking of going. But it is a difficult situation, and Sicily has a long way to go.
Well, the new construction is pretty good in terms of handicap accessibility for sure. Okay. New restaurants and new hotels are pretty good. The problem is that's maybe 15 or 20% of all the Sicilian places. Okay. The older stuff is grotesquely out of code, so to speak. They do have handicap rules, of course, in Sicily, but because of the hilly terrain,
Yeah.
I mean, essentially Sicily is, mountains and volcanoes. It's very hard to negotiate up and down, up and down, up and down with a wheelchair. Now, usually what we do, if someone is really infirm to that level, we will make arrangements to get a wheelchair for them and a person to push it around. But that's an additional cost. That's something that we provide. We know people that do that. The problem too is the older hotels, because they still have bathtubs. How is someone who's infirm, for example, going to get into a bathtub, all right, as opposed to a walk-in shower or a handicapped accessible shower? So those are the types of questions that before you book with a tour operator or before you make your own plans, is you need to ask those questions to the property owners, whoever's getting, whoever the hotel is, etc. Buses is another story too. I have a bad knee, okay, and I hate getting off and on a bus. I haven't yet to see a handicapped accessible bus, a public transportation bus. Esther, you know about the trains. How are the trains?
The trains, no, definitely not. Well, especially the one in Catania, you have to go down the ramp and up the ramp, and I have not
That's
seen
right.
any
Just to get to the train, it's it's tough. It's tough.
Our new friend Darren Colorado is in Mascalucia, which is really near us, Darren. He said it's not about money; it's about respect of your community. I agree 100%. It's an entire culture that has to. It's an entire culture that has to change in Sicily, because a lot of people, my friends, for instance, they are disgusted by it. They hate it. They say, why do my brothers and sisters do this? So it's just an entire culture. It's an entire mindset that, I don't know why they don't care about this beautiful island paradise.
Let me just give you one last thing to enrich your understanding. The landfills in Sicily are almost closed. There's a couple opened up in Lentini, but they're not open up. They charge through the nose on those. Okay, Sicily has to export its waste, which means that they're dependent on the truckers, the transporters, etc., to get their waste out. Okay, there's like 4 different unions involved. What happens is one or the other is always striking. So that causes a backup in the collection of the garbage. It happens even to our house. In our place over here, we live in a gated community where people are militant about separating this stuff. But sometimes we go by after a few days and we'll see that something that was scheduled for a pickup on a Monday hasn't been picked up, and it's Friday. And then all of a sudden there's like a mountain in that department. You've seen it, Esther, right?
Well, that's when they were striking out.
Yeah, when they're striking or when they can't pick it up because There's no one that the haulers can put the garbage to. And by the way, the biggest fear of all is in the summertime when they don't pick the garbage up and people start burning the garbage, like they do in Palermo, like they do in Catania. Okay, and that in itself starts home fires. It starts wildfires out here. So yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Connie makes a good point. More than trash, the is abandoned animal. It breaks my heart too. That is a
Connie,
terrible thing. But there are several organizations out there right now, including our friend Bridget, right, Mokada, over in Kanikati, and she's trying to help the stray animals. That's another. It's a whole attitude about animals or helping others. So definitely one of the big problems here in Sicily.
not that I want to defend the Sicilian people, but I want to remind people that a family of four is trying to get by in less than $20,000 a year. Now, how about where you live in the United States? You have a family of four. Could you get by on $20,000 a year? The answer is you can't. That means your community is broke. So if your community is broke and they have broken pipes to fix, potholes to fix, they have a priority of what public safety to think about. They
Yeah.
have a priority. At the bottom of that priority are animals. I mean, I hate to say that, and I'm a lover of animals.
Well,
And we have good friends that have.
that's why,
We have
thank
Monia
God, the
in Giardini
nonprofit.
Noxus. Yeah, we have friends and we advertise for them all the time, but they're doing it out of the love, uh, you know, for the animals. What's the appropriate thing is? They have to do something in terms of neutering these to stop the proliferation of wild animals. I mean, that's the big thing. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to in the city, they want to have a dog, for example, but they don't want to have a Chihuahua. They want to have a Rottweiler. They want to have a pit bull. Okay, they want to put it in its yard. I'm serious. Everybody wants a cat. So all of a sudden, there's cats all over the place. It's a
Let me,
huge problem, and we are
Kate,
20 years behind the United States on that one issue.
more. Hazel says, I was there last
Yeah,
September with my ill husband. It was not easy. Planning is key. God bless his soul, Hazel. God bless his
it
soul.
is.
And
It
yes,
is.
it
It's
is
a
key.
tough road to hoe. Yeah, it's a tough. Listen,
Wait
let's
a sec.
all
Let me
agree on
finish,
one thing.
Al. Let me
We are an
finish. Let
emerging.
me,
We are an emerging country. You can't compare it to the United States, or we are next to Spain and Portugal. Italy is the poorest country, and Sicily is the poorest province in Italy. All right,
listen,
so
Darren.
we're not
Darren, I
comparing apples.
completely agree. He says, I'm sorry, I don't want to make this conversation negative. Sicily's wonderful overall, but the Sicilians need to take. So let me just tell you, Darren, because I'm seeing you here first
Probably
uh, for,
correct.
for the first time. Darren, so in these conversations that we have about Sicily, we like to highlight the good, the bad, and the ugly to give people a very realistic view. The majority of the time we talk about all the treasures and all the beauties that it has to offer. But as two expats living in Sicily, we also see some of the problems and the issues that it's only fair for others watching to be aware of. Would I, when I do the little scale of the pros and cons, the from Sicily and living in Sicily, the bureaucracy and all the other things that are challenges, I choose Sicily 100% of the time. There's not a doubt in my mind. So listen, you guys, I want to ask you what you guys think, because we've done this now 3 or 4 times, gone live again. Before we were doing sort of a magazine style with more videos and more information, more interviews with Sicilians. I'm curious to ask you guys which format you like better. Of course, now, Alfred, we're here again, um, butting into each other's work. So that's coming up again, huh?
Said what?
Hold on 1 second.
What?
Amir, my family's Trapito, maybe Trapani. Sorry for, and always wanted to go to
Dropadello?
Trapetello, maybe? They said,
Over by
okay,
Talmina?
everyone likes the live.
Everybody likes a lot.
Mag Daster says, yes, thank you. People are hurting too. Rents are going sky high and seniors have to keep work. You know what? It's all about the quality of life for me, the quality of life. Peter, love
Wait
the
a
live
minute.
interaction.
Okay.
Mix up with occasional recorded shows to give you a live break and add videos.
Listen,
All
here's
right.
what I know about living in Sicily, okay? 2 decades now, okay? Versus the United States of America, where, let me just do a quick comparative for you. My Social Security is roughly $2,000 a month. That's 2,000 US dollars a month, okay? Now, with that 2,000 US dollars a month, I can pay for all the expenses of living here in terms of rent and all the utilities, food and stuff, and I can put almost $1,000 a month away. In other words, my overhead here is roughly 1,000 US dollars a month, which is on par, by the way, with all the Sicilians. That's pretty much how much. Maybe they pay a little bit more if they have a better place. In the United States of America, my payment on my condo in Methuen, Massachusetts, was about $1,700 a month just for the condo, and then we had the what is the thing called, the condominium fee of $300 a month. I was paying almost $40,000 a year for mortgage and utilities. Okay, so I made a decision: $1,000, $4,000, because guess what? I want to leave some money to my kids and my grandkids. I didn't want to take whatever my life's earnings were and spend it on myself. I wanted to, kind of let it go downhill a bit. And it's a healthier lifestyle for us. We certainly eat better and we certainly
Like
eat
I
healthier.
said, quality of life. For me, it's
The
all about
quality of
quality
life
of
here
life.
is good. But on the other side of the story, you've got a garbage issue. We don't have a garbage issue where we live in terms of it being completely piggy, okay? But areas do. We don't have a crime infestation issue here like certain areas of Sicily do. But really, if you stop and think about it, look at the pictures in LA, look at the pictures in New York, look at the homeless
I mean, the
encampments that you
cities
guys have
here
in the
are not
States. We
different.
don't have that stuff here.
Well, the
Okay?
cities
So
here are
there's a
not different
trade-off.
than
There's a
other
trade-off.
cities. You know,
Huh?
the cities here, the city, when you're in the city, I always tell people, is it dangerous to go into Catania, to downtown Catania? It's just like a city, just like Boston, just like New York. It's a city. Always be careful. Always be aware of your surroundings and be careful. Period. End of sentence.
Now we're accepting
Connie,
Ukrainians. That's in addition to the migrants that come in here. Okay? So seeing people are hospitable. They open up their arms to people like this because
yeah,
they know what oppression is like. Okay? So as I said, it's a completely different culture than the United States of America. But once it gets in your blood, you're going to want to stay here. That's
yeah,
just my
for sure.
opinion. That's just my opinion. And it's Esther's too. And she's been here for 7 years now, right, Esther? You going on to 8 years?
Yeah, that's one of the questions Mike asked me on the
Wow.
show. He said to me, what's a Hungarian-born
Right.
uh, grew up in the United States doing in Sicily? Well, it just got into my bloodstream. It's in my heart. And I'm going to continue working on bringing you stories and videos and all things Sicilian to you, God willing. And it's thanks to you guys that we're able to continue. All your support has been great. And you guys spending this hour with us or whatever videos you're watching, we are truly, truly humbled, and we thank you for your time. And that's what I
Listen,
had to say
you know
about
how
that.
much we appreciate you, Pete. We have at least 100 loyal people who contribute to our GoFundMe. They become members of our community. They go on our trips. We have at least 100, maybe 150. Okay, And then we have thousands others who enjoy our product. That's good. We're happy. That's why we're here. Okay. Thank you very much
That,
for
you
even tuning
know,
in
that's
for an hour.
actually that's something very interesting because your brother and Mike asked me about my past work, you know, being an anchor and being a reporter on TV in the United States. And I said, out of all the jobs I've had, and I've had been very, very fortunate to work for some great TV stations, have covered great stories, great people. Out of all those jobs, doing Yumi and Sicily is by far the most rewarding job I've ever had. Period. End of sentence. So that's all I have to say
Well,
about
okay,
that.
Esther. It was a good show today. We had quite a bit of
Um,
discussion over here. I'm happy about that.
on that note, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time. And yeah, we'll see you on another video of Yumi and Sicily. Hey, look for the scacciata spinach pie recipe coming later on. And did you guys see my adventures in Istanbul, where I interviewed some refugees and also met a sweet Sicilian girl from Noto, 18-year-old. We still talk, by the way. She's so cute. Anyway, Alfred Zappola, I miss you. I miss Sicily. And ci vediamo alla
Okay,
prossima.
sweetheart. And to everybody
Ciao.
out there, sa benediga. Grazie tante per tutte.